Wonderful. Andrea, thank you so much. And all of you, both commissioners and NCDC staff, thank you all for being here and for what you have been doing the last 3 months. So just as a reminder, this is a public meeting, and the public can log into WebEx to listen in or participate in this meeting. So it is a public meeting, just as if we were sitting in the boardroom at the CDC. And welcome to our fourth quarter 2020 meeting. And earlier today, Andrea sent us all an email with login information, but also the documents that we'll be reviewing our meeting this afternoon. So with that, the call to order. I trust everyone, or I hope everyone has had an opportunity to review the minutes from the last commission meeting. And is there a motion to approve the minutes?
This is Sherry. I move to accept the minutes from January 15th, 2020.
And this is Lisa. I second that.
Lisa, thank you. And it's been moved and seconded. Any discussion, questions about the minutes?
No.
All in favor of approving them?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Financial report, These are always have been such great fun the last couple of months. Jeff.
Fun is not the term I will use today.
No.
Apologize, I'm going to look to the side here just a little bit. Notes on my other screen here, but I guess welcome to the new world. At the end of January, hotel tax collections in the city were up year to date about 10.5% over the previous year. Then in March, the tornado and the virus hit, and the world certainly changed for all of us. Through February, our total promotion and marketing expenses had totaled about $22.5 million, on their way to our planned budget of about $32 million, as you see in the financial report. But also, as you can see, year to date through April now, our expenses have only just totaled about $25 million, just over that. And so you can see that we've definitely had to slam the brakes on as far as the spending goes. Since late March, we have focused our spending primarily on maintaining our staff at a significantly reduced salary level, and other mandatory things like rent and insurance, with the goal of preserving our cash reserves without layoffs. We've suspended company contributions to the employee retirement plan. We've canceled all travel and in-person meetings, as I'm sure everybody has right now. We canceled our spring advertising buys and most of our professional service contracts, just in efforts to reduce expenses as much as possible during this time. I'll let everybody else talk about what our staff has been doing, mostly from home over the last few months, but we have been busy and still at work. As you know, in a normal situation, we're reimbursed through our city contract for the expenses that we incur. That results in a break-even financial report for the organization. The financial report that you see today through April shows reimbursements from our city contract of about $19,125,000. That actually represents a reimbursement to us of our expenses only through mid-March. And so since that time, we've been sort of on our own. One of the challenges with the timing of all this interruption is that due to our large events, New Year's Eve, July 4th, and those types of things, about 70% of our expenses through the course of the year occur during the first 8 months of the year. But historically, hotel tax collections for that same period only represent about 60% of the annual total. So the March to June timeframe is a really important timeframe for us normally for the hotel tax collection. And so it's kind of put an extra squeeze, just the timing of that kind of put an extra squeeze on our finances for this year. We have to say that the folks at Metro Finance Department have been great partners as we work through all this, and that they're in a really difficult spot. But right now we're just sort of on hold waiting for word from them as to whether they'll be able to reimburse us any additional funds for the rest of this fiscal year or not. So that may be all that we get. We're hoping to get a little more, but it's definitely been a tough year. anybody has any questions, specific questions about the report itself, I'd be glad to try to address those. But otherwise, I'll just end that at this point we project that we'll be ending the year with about a $3 million loss in that park or ballpark, and so definitely not what we're used to reporting.
And the loss is basically what you would have gotten from the portion of the tax collection that NCDC receives.
Yes, that's correct. Obviously at a much reduced spending level than it would have been in a normal year.
Yeah,
Right.
maybe Howard, just to put it in context, I hope in the easiest way possible is, normal year, we might average 2.5 million a month in hotel tax collection. And now we're averaging, 300,000 to 400,000 a month. So that to me is an easier visual to picture.
It is.
What we're doing.
Yeah. Thank you.
And
Well, I have to, following what the NCDC and all you've been doing and the information that you all have, I keep with my own staff here citing what you all are doing as a great example of how you tamp down things and you adjust to a new reality. So I'm really impressed with what all of you have been doing under dire circumstances.
I would say thank you. I would tell you it has been a true collective team effort. We all have a hand in it, and none of us could have gotten through it alone. And everybody has stepped up. So thank you for saying that.
It shows you went into this with a great team and that can-do spirit. So Jeff has walked us through the financial report. Is there a motion to approve it?
Motion. Lachlan motioning to approve.
Great. Thank you, Hank. Is there a second?
This is Sherry. I second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded to approve the financial report. Any questions? Well, if not, call the question. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Great. Approved. Thank you all very much. CVC report and Butch. Your court.
Thanks. I'm debating whether I'm going to ask the team to jump in or whether I'm going to run through, but I'll share the less positive news, and then as I get to that, I'll figure out how much help I want, giving them credit for the great job that's being done. So I'll give you a complete rundown. We hit the lowest point on demand or rooms sold the first full week of April. So we bottomed out at that point. If reopening phases continue as they have, we think we could be at about 50% occupancy by December. I might even say we could do better than that if we don't have a setback. We are aware of 1,018 meetings that have been canceled, representing 760,000 room nights and 500,000 delegates. If we had hosted those meetings, they would have spent $378 million and generated about $30 million in state and another $30 million in local taxes. We've been saying that most of the fall meetings have not canceled. That is starting to change, and we're seeing that heat up. So at this point, without
Looks like we lost Butch, at least temporarily.
Yeah.
Must be having internet issues.
Yeah.
I'm going to blame Metro. This is not ours. But it is in it is in complete keeping with my last 30 hours of Zoom, Team, WebEx, whatever. Everything is consistent. So it's official. We have tested every way possible, and it's me, not the technology. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah, we can even see you now, but you show up twice.
Oh, I'm loving it. What was the last thing? I was touching on unemployment. I don't know if y'all heard that.
The growth
Last
toward
thing
the
that I
fall.
got, you were just talking about the fall.
Right.
And
Okay.
Yeah.
So you heard me, we're now starting to see an uptick in fall cancellation. So I would expect that to only increase, unfortunately. You know, until there's a vaccine, we're going to be dealing with this. I did want to point out that Nashville's unemployment, we estimate that about 42% is hospitality industry related. So we have taken the biggest hit. We have the largest hill to climb back up. But if I point to a few things, we are seeing week over week since that bottoming out in April, business improving. We've tipped 30% occupancy a couple times, so weekends, going back into the lower 20s during the week. So leisure and business travel will be the first to rebound. But there is a willingness, according to our research, for people to travel. Looks like August is where they feel more comfortable. They do want some comfort in knowing how safe is the city and how healthy. Dina has led our effort on this Good to Go campaign. If y'all want to talk about it in a minute, we can go back to that. I think we're over 600 businesses, Dina, now that have signed up. So very pleased in a very short amount of time, the volume of businesses that have signed up. We talked to about 150 clients yesterday about our Good to Go campaign and about our opening up. So that many clients were willing to get on the phone was a great initiative. British Air, they were selling August. They're gonna shift that to September. So I'm sharing that with Dina for the first time right now. Basically, their startup is going to be tied to when travel bans are lifted and when, especially in the UK, they still have a 14-day quarantine if you travel there. People aren't really willing to go spend that money to take a trip and not be able to leave their hotel room. So we see that softening. British Air thinks September is more likely, but it could be anywhere from September to the end of the year. But they are still bullish on Nashville, which is a good sign that we're not being cast aside. Some of you may have heard or read Southwest Airlines starting to ramp back up. When they shut down, got about 120 flights a day. When they get back to peak in October, should be over 130 flights. So we are one of very few markets coming out of this with more flights than we went into it, which speaks well for their confidence in, I'll say, our team and the city and our relationship. So we're making headway on that. I'm looking at my notes, so I apologize. We have reached out. We trained 400 domestic travel agents. We have done, I think we're up to 8, Adrian, songwriter series, where we have entertained clients with either Brett James or Shannon Sanders. If Shannon is on the call, thank you. We have one more this afternoon. Did one in the UK yesterday. So we are going global with our virtual happy hour and touching base with our clients. We also took a lot of the virtual concerts that were going on. Dana's team rebranded them, called Music City Bandwidth, and we've just been pushing that out globally to keep Nashville in front, help people get to know the various artists, and just provide some relief, some entertainment. So that has worked very well for us. We have booked 39 groups, 73,000 room nights in April and May. Now, my standard line is, in a normal year, somebody would get fired. But right now we are celebrating 73,000 room nights, and we have crossed the 1 million room night booking mark for the year. So we were on great pace prior to March 16th when we shut down. And then a few other things just to let y'all know. We have stayed involved with the mayor's office on health communications. We have led the feeding of the assessment centers and emergency communications and the health department. We did that to save the city money and to spread that around to more restaurants and caterers. If the city had done it, they would have spent a little more, and they would have had a contract with one company. So we didn't feel like enough people would benefit from that. So we took that on with the gamble that we could get reimbursed. We have not been reimbursed yet. The city is working on that. They do appreciate what we did, and they're trying to make us whole. We've been lobbying with the U.S. Travel Association. We have been working on workforce. We literally coordinated a downtown business communication from Deputy Chief Drake ahead of that biggest march and rally of over 10,000 people. And we're responding to everything we can. I'm happy to take some questions. I'm happy to ask Andrea, Dina, or Adrian and Marie if they have anything they want to add. The news is not great. The work is stellar. And I can tell you, I'm not sure we've ever worked harder and done less. So we're not going anywhere. Any comments our team wants to add?
Might want to touch on what we're doing for 4th of July, just in case they haven't seen it.
Good point. So under the damned if you do, damned if you don't category, we're moving forward with a hybrid July 4th event. We've had plenty of input. Should you cancel it due to pandemic? Should you cancel it due to social unrest? We are not tone deaf. We feel our day job is tied to propping the city up and putting some positive things out. So the compromise right now is a 1-hour TV show on Channel 5. They will broadcast live music. They will broadcast fireworks. We will have a short fireworks show. We have closed the parks to discourage crowds. We're going to do as much marketing to say, stay home and watch this. We know people will come out. The people that come out, we're going to try to encourage, go to one of the rooftops, support local businesses, spend some money, help us in that regard. We're saluting the essential workers, in particular healthcare, to say thank you for them, to them. We have reached out probably a dozen African-American / Black community members to get their opinion. Should we cancel? What's the tone? Are we being appropriate? and respectful. And to a person, all the individuals we have talked to have been very encouraging and said we absolutely should not cancel. But what we are doing is adding a message of how important it is to complete the census this year and to register to vote. And in particular, we're working with the Urban League to have a message during our show to talk about voting, both registering and getting out to vote. So we feel like we've touched all the right buttons, rightfully so, respectfully so. The music is diverse. We have blues, pop/rock, we have Americana, we have country, we have male, female, black, white, young, old. And I think the show is going to be pretty good. But, and it'll probably continue to evolve right up until 9 o'clock on July 4th. So we'll be from 9 to 10 on the 4th. We're appreciative of Channel 5. And then not the reason we did it, but our sponsors have been great. And as a result, we've got a chance to actually make a little money for the first time in the history of producing this event. And that is a silver lining to all of the effort that is going forward. That we can come away with 50 to 100,000 to the good out of this year. And I assure you that has never happened. And we're selling some hotel rooms. So that's a good sign as well. Anything else I need to touch on? Martin? Good. Questions from Howard, from you?
I was wondering do you get reports from the restaurants and how restaurants, what their business is being like?
We don't get reports. We do try to get on the phone. Most of the higher end restaurants have stayed closed, just due to the 50%. A few have opened. I think they've done better on the takeout side.
Mm-hmm.
I know they're anxious to get to this phase 3 where they could go to 75%. I think more will open up, and we're getting on a call tomorrow to try to figure out how we can communicate better, both with the health department and the restaurants and bar industry with the hospitality association. So there can be a better job of communication between the industry and health. The Rob Morrison's credit, he's pushed for that this week. So we're going to work on that tomorrow, or start working on it tomorrow.
That's great. We were out on 12 South on Sunday, and there were probably 4 groups of bachelorette parties.
They are back. And, this time around, God bless them.
We thought, well, that's a positive sign.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's definitely a willingness to come out and play. And what we've got to do is we're asking the bars to be responsible and, count the number of people. That we don't need to be packed to the gills. We don't need to create an unsafe environment. And we obviously have had a little bit of issue this week as we deal with it. But we're on top of it.
That's great. And Marie, can you give us a report on the National Museum of African American Music?
Marie just sent me a text, and she's asking if we can see or hear her. The answer is, I can see you now, Marie. Mm-hmm. We can't hear. Okay, I'll try to address that. So Marie and I are both on the museum board of directors. The museum is probably 95% to its fundraising goal. Talked to Henry Hicks last night. We probably are shifting the opening date a little bit. It's unclear where to, but probably in October, November instead of September. That's as much to do with what at one point the construction crew was tested positive, a number of them, so they had to scale back and do broader testing. The overall project was a little behind due to the same reasons, but it is basically, for all practical purposes, on schedule, 50,000 square feet, gaining momentum. I think it's going to be a little easier to get the country's attention. I did a panel with Pandora yesterday, and they quickly followed up and said, we want to know more about this museum. Maybe we can help. So there's some good that's going to come out of the bad we're living through, and we're going to try to make sure of that. We also are trying to do a little more with Juneteenth. Marie just reminded me. So I want you all to know we're closing the office tomorrow in observance of Juneteenth and the social unrest in the community. We are posting various activities around town. We're asking our staff to do either donate or volunteer somewhere, not just take a holiday. And we just finished helping Jump create a virtual 20th anniversary of the Jefferson Street Jazz and Blues event that was supposed to take place this weekend. So Saturday, there will be a virtual show. We're going to try to do some social media around that. And if we can carry their live stream, we're going to try to do that as well. But museum's one of the bright spots right now. Thank you for asking about that, Howard. Any other questions from commission members for us? I wish I had better news. I promise the next meeting we'll have better news. I see Fletcher. I can mind y'all very appreciative. I think Fletcher, you're still active with ACMs. Is that? So
I think everything's still for the ACMs. We have 4 different plans for that award show to go on, whether it become live like a normal award show, all the way from there to components of it being award shows to it being, a virtual award show. So,
well, we're appreciative of relocating the show to Nashville.
yes,
Even without a crowd, it's a primetime network special that showcases our city. And this year, we have the opportunity to showcase the Opera House, the Ryman, and the Bluebird in the show. So it has extra value for us, and we're very appreciative and happy to have worked with you on that. So thank you.
yeah, it'll be great. I think.
I think the show will be good. Debate still happening for those of you that are interested in politics, and the Presidential Debate Commission assures us that everything will go on. The only question mark is audience and audience size, but we have been assured that that will happen. So that will be a second primetime network highlight from Nashville. And then the CMA Awards in November. So we have some good PR coming out of here soon.
What's the debate date?
I think it's October 29th.
Wow, really close to the
Really close to the election.
Yeah.
I'll double check that, but very late. And as I describe it in all of my conversations, it will be must-see TV.
Yeah.
You can't script this one. Not going to get political.
I was going to say, moving on.
Get me out of this.
Hey, Butch, have you heard anything about what other cities are doing on 4th of July in the region? Are they canceling to where we may get some people coming in?
A lot of mixed. Small communities have canceled. I know New York wanted to go big and the mayor got torched. I don't know if he changed but he was pretty tone deaf. They were in dire straits when he announced we're doing this. The key for us was minimizing crowds and not spending any metro money. And we have accomplished those 2 things, we believe. And we also had assumed we'd be in phase 4. We will be for sure in phase 3. And phase 4 would have been wide open. But trying to find out, but it's all over the board, to be honest with you.
Cool.
And Adrian just corrected me, October 22nd.
Ah,
I was a week late. Still very close to Election Day. And it's
It
the
is.
third and final debate of the season.
This will be an interesting year. Any other questions or comments from the commissioners?
Sherry, what's your opening date? I'll ask. Can you unmute or text me?
We,
Talk slow, I'm having a lip read.
Yeah.
You're open now, Sherry.
Yeah.
okay. We opened last Thursday. And had a good crowd in. So it's funny when you get excited about having 50 rooms in a 673 room. But we were extremely excited about that. This weekend looks good. So the weekends, we're seeing more pickup. The weekday is small. Right now, we're not operating valet. So when I pulled into the garage on Monday morning, the first portion of the garage was almost full. So I was excited about that because we're allowing the customers to basically self-park themselves in the valet area. So I was like, oh my God, I have a full garage. That's very exciting. So this weekend should be interesting. Next weekend picks up a little bit more. But how we're forecasting to end the year is probably something in the history of the hotel we've never seen. As Butch said, we continue to see cancellation. I'm weeding my way through about 10 addendums right now and trying to get customers solidified for either 21. But the one thing that we are seeing is a little bit of uptick in some smaller meetings. So, and when I say small, but we're excited about revenue. We've been booking meetings, probably 10 to 15 people, and for July, which was very exciting to see. So we're moving forward right now. We do not have the restaurant open. We just have our marketplace in the lobby providing our food and beverage service. We have our first meeting will be next weekend, and it's about 7 people. So we will social distance them, and then for their beverage service, we'll serve that from the marketplace. But excited to see that people are trying to come back. For some groups that we have in August, we have some checkpoints with them with regards to where are we in the phasing within the city, and then where their numbers are. But many of the customers are surveying their attendee base to see if they would come to a meeting, if they if they are funded, or if there are any travel restrictions. So some positivity, and then of course you still have that, every time a customer call, we basically hold our breath. And so some say I'm not calling to cancel, so then I can breathe and do the happy.
It was a nice change of pace when we stopped getting calls that were canceling group tours and school groups, et cetera, et cetera. We reopened to the public last Thursday, and I was pleasantly surprised over the weekend. We were getting about 180 people a day.
Wow.
Which a year ago on a June Saturday or Sunday, we'd have 800 to 1,200 people. So otherwise, in another world, I'd be slitting my wrists at 180. But this was great. And what's exciting is that our per capita spend in our museum store almost doubled from what it had been. So we have no idea why, but I'll take it.
Yeah. Any good news?
It was interesting. I saw scooters moving the other day also.
Yes. I'd kind of forgotten what they were like.
I did too.
Yeah. As long as there's less of them, I'm good.
It's less.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Less is best.
Other comments?
Hey, this is Lisa. I just wanted to reiterate what Howard said earlier, that you all have really stepped up. I think the Good to Go program is terrific.
Yeah.
I like your messaging. I really, really appreciate all of the information that you have provided. And I think lastly, I would say, is there anything you need from us?
Would it be inappropriate to say membership renewal?
I hope we already did it, but we will.
No, your support across the board has been invaluable, and we're trying to communicate as much as we can, and we're also trying to move as quick as we can. And sometimes those two things don't go hand in hand. So anytime you learn something, maybe in the press or something, just know that's not the intent. But we're working apart. We're working at breakneck speed. We don't have a net and we don't have a bank account. So everything is using our best judgment as we can. So, we appreciate the support more than anything.
Well, yeah, you all have pivoted, and the actions you've taken are really amazing. Very impressive across the board.
And one thing to note on the Good to Go program, as I'm talking to customers regarding August, I mentioned the Good to Go program, and I think that that's going to definitely spur some of those smaller, maybe in-house opportunities from our hotels, knowing that the whole city, the entire hospitality community is working together to create a safe environment for them to come to. So, thank you all for hosting that on yesterday. So it may help us get a little bit more tax revenue.
We certainly understand our revenue's in the same place yours is. So we got to get it back.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough 6 months. I make my last statement that we're fully aware that we have at least 6 more months of, hopefully it's improving every month, but it's going to be a tough 6 months. So we're not backing down. We're going to be creative. We're going to be productive, and we're going to get to the finish line.
Great. We all need you to get to the finish line.
Thank you. It's intentional.
But we're all supporting you too. Well, moving on to other business, and I have one item, and that it's time to form a nominating committee to identify the next chair of the commission. And so we're asking Tanya Lewis and to serve with Butch and me, and Andrea will coordinate the nominating committee to come up with a recommendation, and we'll have that for the next commission meeting in September. Yeah.
Perfect.
And do we need an approval for that? Does the commission need to vote on the
No, you get to a point.
Okay, great. Well, it'll be Tanya and Butch and me. So we'll be working on that over the next period of time. But anything else under new business? So anything we do these days is new because we've never had to do it before. But every day is a new adventure. Well, if there are any comments for the good of tourism in Nashville?
Just saying tourism and good in the same sentence is music to our ears. So thank you for that sentence.
Well, the bar is pretty low these days. So 3 people and I'm excited, let me tell you. If there is no further business, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Okay. And someone, was that Hank?
Yes, I'll second.
Great. Motion moved and seconded. All in favor? Say
Aye.
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 Thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
And all
Thanks,
of the
everybody.
listeners, thank you, and all of you on
Word.
staff, thank you so much.
Thank y'all.
Absolutely.
We
Great.
appreciate you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.